What do you believe sets our company apart from others in the industry, other places you've been?
I see us as not just a contractor. You're not just somebody that's coming to work on a project and disappear. You become part of a team. You're embedded. You're a bum in a seat in the team itself without the HR hassle. You don't have to, as a company, well, as a client in this case, have to deal with labor resourcing. Impact does that for you, takes the risk for you, and you get a person that's fully embedded in the company as if they were employed. It's a really nice option for clients, and it's really nice for us as designers because we get stable, consistent work with a team that you actually build a relationship with. You build a rapport, you have a respect between the team members.
And I think you made a good point too. Design systems is such a big thing in the design world, especially using certain tools that help you accelerate and create a design system. But we know that, if you're going to have different teams, different products, and this is all within one application, which can be huge. If you don't have a design system, we know things will be inconsistent. If you have people going rogue, I'm sure as you're building that design system, is there any other, ways in which you've created, especially being a team of one? If there's a bigger team of designers, tell us a little bit more about how you manage from that ideation to actually creating wireframes, user testing, and then design system management.
There's a lot of research that goes into it. So looking at obviously trends that are going on, forums, discussions, articles, that sort of thing, looking at what other applications do, typical best practice, following obviously the basic rules of UX as well. And then looking at the patterns within the application that already exist. So to not change that in one place versus another. And from there is just wireframing lo-fi. So basically like a blueprint you would see for a house when you first start. From there you start coloring it in and adding detail, and you start testing it yourself. So as you start testing it yourself and you start asking yourself, where am I going to get the data for this input field? Then you start looking at, how someone would populate this. Then I tend to get someone to play with it and see where they struggle. Don't really tell them too much information, just see what they do. And then from there I go into, if I can get actual users, it very much depends. With my current situation in this project, there's a very big struggle with getting users that are actual valid users, and also
getting the right feedback too, I bet.
Yes, they're quite averse to user testing. In the very beginning, it was almost a waste of money in their opinion from the feedback that we got. So they just wanted to push everything out and then say, you can play with it in the sandbox. Now that we've actually gotten more trust with the client and build a stronger relationship, we planted some seeds a while ago and they've grown. They are now like, oh hey, this is actually beneficial. We've learned we should do this more often. So it's really interesting how you kind of have to prove it in a way, because they're not familiar with the whole concept of what does a user want. They just go, how can we build this quickly? I find that the testing part is something many companies overlook. It's not just this client. It's quite a common thing to have to try and negotiate to get them to buy in. And then, once we've done the user testing, then we'll start implementing proper screens. And obviously there's a user flows and user journeys. So if you've got something that if I click this radio button, it's going to do this, and you're going to have a spider diagram that goes off and off and off and off. And that's really helpful as well for the product owners that have to write stories for the developers, because then you've already solved all of the problems. They don't have to really think. So that saves them a lot of time. And then when you walk through the whole process with them, they have a lot of input and questions and get that all out there before it goes into the developer's inbox. And once everything is agreed upon between development and design and product, then it goes into the design system. And the design system at the moment is broken down by components, templates. So templates being much bigger. So this is a whole page. This is what a whole page would look like. Components being things like buttons, checkboxes, radios, that sort of thing. And then we've also got brand. So brand is like colors, shadows, fonts, logo regulations. And then we've got content. So the content comes down into validation rules, how we write, how we speak, tone of voice, accessibility rules. Accessibility is also something product owners do not prioritize. We've actually got a colorblind product owner. So we can learn a lot from him and grow the product and then a little bit more accessible, because we've actually got a product owner that cares about accessibility. Whereas majority of my experience has been accessibility is very low priority.